Hey there, and welcome back for another deep dive. You know, we always say we love a good mystery, and, well, you've really outdone yourself this
Oh,
time.
this one is a doozy, I'll give you that. I'm intrigued. I'm a little nervous.
You and me both. But hey, that's what makes these deep dives so much fun, right? Okay, so you've given us quite the collection of source material this time, excerpts from this spy novel, Delusion, Lucy's Breath. And you've woven those together with actual news articles and, like, historical background. It's a lot to untangle.
It really is. It's like you're asking us to step right into one of those conspiracy theory boards online.
Yeah.
But where's the fun in saying no to a challenge?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's start with the fictional world of Delusion, Lucy's Breath, shall we? We're thrown right into the action. It's the 1950s New York City. A scientist working on some pretty shady stuff for the CIA ends up taking a swan dive off a hotel balcony. Not exactly the happy ending you'd expect.
Right, and this isn't just any scientist, you know. This is a man who was working on mind control experiments, the real deal, and he started having second thoughts. He wanted out. But in that line of work, knowing too much can make you a liability.
Yeah, and the novel plays on that. Like, what if this program, which they call Lucy's Breath, never really went away? What if it just went deeper underground, maybe even evolved? And that's where I think those news articles you gave us come in. It's like the line between the novel and current events starts to get really blurry.
Yeah, and suddenly we're talking about election interference, shadow organizations pulling the strings, people in high places who may not be who they seem. It makes you wonder how much of this fiction is closer to reality than we might like to think.
Okay, so hold on to your hats because now we're going to fast forward to the present day. We have a string of high-profile accidents, or at least that's what they want us to believe. The Secretary of State found hanged. The Attorney General takes a tumble down the stairs. The Director of National Intelligence has a complete and total meltdown all after attending a party hosted by, you guessed it, the Vice President.
Oh, this is getting juicy. What's the vice president's connection to all of this?
Well, that's the interesting part. His wife comes from a very powerful, very wealthy family. And what do they say? Money talks, right? And in this case, their money comes from a beer brewing empire.
A beer brewing empire embroiled in a potential conspiracy. Now that's a story I can get behind. But before we go there, let's talk about the man of the hour. Who exactly is the protagonist in all of this?
Yes, our protagonist. Meet Harry, a disgraced British intelligence agent who's been exiled, banished, sent to the frozen tundra of Toronto. Okay, maybe not the tundra, but still. Anyway, he's running this art gallery called The Bully, trying to lay low, when his old boss, Roger, pulls him back in. Apparently there's this art exhibition that's caught their eye. The artist. None other than the former U.S. Attorney General's wife, Anna Marcel.
Okay, so we've got political intrigue, a mysterious death, and now we're throwing art into the mix. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, for starters, Harry might be a tad. Unhinged. Okay, maybe more than a tad. He's got this companion, Harriet. Problem is, she may or may not be real, like a figment of his imagination kind of real.
Ah, so we're dealing with an unreliable narrator. Always a fun twist. But it does make you wonder how much of what we're seeing is through Harry's distorted lens. Is he really uncovering a conspiracy, or is this all just a delusion? And what's with this art exhibition? This is something specific about Anna Marcel's work that caught their attention.
It's all connected, I promise you that. Okay, so remember how I said there's always a twist? Well, this is a big one. At the center of this whole story, there's a painting. Two figures, their faces are obscured, but get this, they're covered in these weird hexagonal tattoos. And those tattoos, they look a lot like chemical formulas.
Chemical formulas, huh? Like what kind of chemical formulas? That's a little too close to home for me. Spill the beans already.
Okay. One of them, and this is where it gets really creepy, appears to be the formula for LSD.
LSD. You're kidding, right?
That's
As in Lucy in the Sky. LSD. And we're back to Lucy's Breath. I think I'm starting to see where this is going, and I'm not sure I like it. Talk about your mind games.
It gets worse, or better, I guess, depending on how you look at it. But that's not all, not even close. You see, this painting, it's more than just a pretty picture, it's a puzzle. And one of the clues is this technique, infrared reflectography. Ever heard of it?
Oh, absolutely. It's like a secret weapon for art historians. It's how they can see beneath the surface of a painting, you know, uncover hidden layers, alterations, things like that.
Right, like those pentimento paintings where you can see the artist's first draft underneath. So naturally, Harry can't resist a good mystery. He's got to know what's hiding beneath the surface of this painting. And guess what? He finds something.
What, another chemical formula?
Even better, or worse, depending on how you look at it. Hidden underneath that top layer of paint. A map.
A map. Okay, now I'm really interested. What kind of map are we talking about here?
Well, it's a map of the United States, but it's not the usual state lines and all that. It's divided into congressional districts. Each one is connected by these lines that all converge on a single point in Wyoming.
Wyoming, of all places. That seems oddly specific even for a spy novel. Did they ever figure out what it means?
Well, Harry's a bit stumped at first. He calls in his associate, Mercury, the gallery manager I mentioned earlier.
Ah, yes, the one who can handle a weapon. Sounds like someone you want on your side.
Exactly. So they put their heads together, start cross-referencing everything they can find. Shipping routes, political districts, geological surveys, you name it, they looked at it. And finally, they realize what the map is showing.
Okay, drumroll please. What's the big reveal?
It's not what they were expecting. Turns out it's the distribution network for the PG brewery.
The brewery. You're kidding, right?
Nope. It seems our beer brewing family might be even more ambitious than we thought.
Okay, I'll bite. How does a brewery's distribution network factor into a conspiracy involving mind control and election interference?
Well, for starters, it gives them reach. We're talking about a vast network that spans the entire country.
True, but trucks full of beer aren't exactly subtle, are they?
No, but they are effective. Remember those news articles that hinted at foreign influence in the PG family's rise to power?
Yes, I'm starting to see where you're going with this. They're not just delivering beer, are they?
It seems not. Think about it. Trucks crisscrossing the country could easily transport other things besides beer. Money, information, maybe even people. All under the radar.
It's the perfect cover. No one suspects the beer man. But what's their end game? Why go through all this trouble?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It seems they want to, how do I put this delicately, reshape the political landscape, replace key officials with, shall we say, more agreeable candidates.
So they're playing the long game, and they're using their vast resources to manipulate events from behind the scenes.
Exactly. It's a subtle form of power, but incredibly effective. They're not launching missiles or hacking into voting machines, at least not directly. They're influencing minds, shaping opinions, and ultimately controlling the narrative.
It's a chilling thought, isn't it? That the things we see, the news we consume, the leaders we elect, could all be influenced by forces we never even see coming.
And that's what makes this whole story so unsettling. It's a reminder that the world is a much more complicated place than we often realize. It's like they're playing chess, and we're all just pawns in their game. So what does Harry do with this information? Does he try to warn anyone?
Well, he knows he needs proof, hard evidence.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just his word against theirs. And let's be honest, his word isn't exactly gold these days, is it?
Right. He's still got that whole disgraced agent thing hanging over his head.
Exactly. So he does what any good artificiano would do. He sends the painting to an expert in infrared reflectography, a Professor Bakshi, I believe.
Smart move. Get a second opinion, make sure they're not missing anything. But what about that bottle of cognac? You know, the one with the cryptic note? Evidence.
Ah, yes. I was wondering when that would come back into play. Don't worry, Harry didn't forget about it. He takes it to a chemist, this Dr. Klein, for analysis. Because, hey, you never know.
And while he's waiting for the test results.
Things at the gallery take an interesting turn. Remember that strange little man who kept lurking around? The one with the limp?
Yeah, he always seemed like bad news. What'd he do?
Well, it seems he wasn't too happy about Marcel giving the painting to Harry. He shows up at the gallery demanding its return.
Oh boy, that can't be good.
Thankfully, Mercury is more than capable of handling herself. She gives him the slip and sends him on his way, but not before things get a little tense.
I can imagine. But it does make you wonder, if they're willing to go to those lengths to get the painting back, how important is it really?
Well, we're about to find out. Because while all of this is happening, Harry gets a call from Mercury. It's urgent. It seems Professor Bakshi.
Oh no, don't tell me.
I'm afraid so. He was attacked. Two men, posing as art handlers, barged into his lab, roughed him up, and stole the painting.
Are you serious? Those poor Fendi sneakers? They really went through all that just for a painting. What happened to the professor?
He's okay. A few bumps and bruises, but he'll live. And thankfully, he's a cautious man. He had a feeling something like this might happen, so he made sure to analyze the painting right away.
What did he find?
He shows Harry these images on his phone. Close-ups of the map of the tattoos. And there it is, clear as day, that hexagonal tattoo. It's definitely the chemical formula for LSD.
Wow. So it really is all connected. The mind control, the elections, the beer. It's all part of some elaborate plan. But whose plan? And what's their end game?
Those are the questions Harry's wrestling with. He thinks about going to the authorities, but who would believe him? He's got this map, he's got this confirmation about the LSD, but it's all circumstantial. He needs more. He needs proof.
So he goes back to the drawing board.
Literally.
Mm.
He spends days, maybe even weeks, poring over that map, comparing it to everything he can get his hands on, shipping schedules, political maps, you name it. He's like a man possessed.
And that
It hits him. He's been looking at it all wrong. The map isn't just a map of the PG Brewery's distribution network. It's a blueprint.
A blueprint for what?
For the takeover. Remember that conversation Harry had with Roger about the Wall Street putsch of 1933?
You mean that time a bunch of wealthy businessmen tried to overthrow President Roosevelt? What does that have to do with anything?
Well, it seems history might be repeating itself. Only this time, it's not just about money. It's about ideology. The PG family, they have their own vision for America, and they're using their vast resources to make it a reality.
So it's not just about winning elections, it's about controlling the entire system from the inside out.
Exactly. And they're using everything at their disposal to do it. Money, influence, and yes, maybe even a little mind control on the side. It's enough to make you wonder, who can you trust? Who's really pulling the strings?
And the scariest part, this is just a story. It's fiction. But it makes you wonder, what's really going on out there? What's hiding beneath the surface of our everyday lives?
It's a question worth asking. And on that note, I think we'll leave it there for today.
Well, this deep dive has certainly given us a lot to think about. A big thank you to you, the listener, for sending us on this wild ride. Until next time, keep your eyes open, your mind sharp, and always question everything.